Yeah, because I've seen Kendrick boxing. I've seen Drake boxing. When Kendrick says he's Terrence Crawford, man, they got the same energy, same black Air Force energy. Drake, he just wants to bully. And he really thinks that Kendrick will be a pushover, and I highly doubt that.
Now, has Drake just had another stream with Aiden Ross? When it comes to the biggest loser in all of rap music, with us getting the most unfiltered and honest version of Drake that we possibly could see in this time, we got to see all of Drake's worst habits just take over more than ever. And ultimately just embarrass him, as what is so clear is that even after all of this time, and even after trying to give his fans the impression that he is unfazed from Kendrick Lamar and everything that happened between them, this has just never failed more, as Drake could not.
Not only that, y'all gotta understand, I always say you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. If you're on this channel a lot, you hear me say this a lot. And specifically in talking about Drake. Let me take y'all to school real quick. Alright, class. Drake has made some of the worst chess moves you possibly could make. Understand, it's not just surface level going on top of a stream with a famous streamer. Understand, you're talking to Aiden Ross, someone who already has creepy allegations. Then you're attaching yourself to DJ Academics, also in the stream, who also has his allegations and the video proof. Drake himself has allegations and video proof. You have DJ Academics attaching on to Kanye, who has the exact same allegations. Then you have Andrew Tate attaching on. It's like this nasty conglomerate of creepy dudes. They're all finding comfort in one another. It's nasty, man. So the worst thing you could possibly do is attempt to attach yourself onto people who have the exact same case as you. Not only that, we keep telling Drake, chill out. Let people miss you. That's what everyone has been saying. People that know Drake, people that don't know Drake, people that hate Drake, people that love Drake. On both sides, everyone is saying, hey, Drake, you need to chill out for a little bit. Just disappear for a little bit. And he refuses to listen for some reason.
Not stop mentioning Kendrick and trying to chip at his success, and from running around with the same old tired narratives that he has already, to almost saying Kendrick's name directly and making another awful mistake. Overall, with this moment Drake has had with Aiden Ross, he has managed to just show how with Kendrick Lamar still beating him so badly in everything, at this point he's really just completely breaking down and losing it because of him. And now before we go any further into this all-time crash out, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. And so now with that said, when it comes to Drake, Aiden Ross, and this mess of an event that they had, I mean, really, with what is the closest thing we are going to get to a Drake interview for quite some time, and also just a chance to see where he is actually at when he can't lie to everybody with songs and moments that he was able to work on and prepare to try to make him look a certain way, although, of course, almost all of that has failed as well in its own way. Again, while Drake's main strategy in this time has been to try to act like he is the same old unbothered guy and he is just winning and making music and having fun, with him just stepping out with Aiden here and speaking, he just shows what's actually going on behind the scenes, which is terrible, because at every...
And I hate that entire unbothered mentality. It's like Lil Yachty said it too about Drake. Come on, bro. UMG already claimed that the unbothered rapper can't be that unbothered if you're suing. Like, come on, man. We know Drake's an actor. We know he likes to fake, but we know what's going on behind the scenes. We can see how it's affecting his looks. We can see the stress on his face. He can't hide that, man. So he can't be that unbothered.
Chance Drake had here, he managed to show his jealousy, anger, and disdain towards Kendrick Lamar once again, and just reveal that despite the narratives Drake and his guys, including people like Aiden, keep making, which from all of the pro-Drake stuff they are trying to say to help him, to then trying to discredit Kendrick with such things as saying that Kendrick is using the beef for attention and he's dragging it out, and that Drake is just trying to move on but Kendrick won't let him. I mean, of course, all of this is a lie, and it's really just never been the opposite more in reality, because in moments where Drake is supposed to just sit with Aiden Ross and try and distract his fans and these people from the fact that his career is still messed up no matter how much he's trying to hold on to it, Drake himself is the one who keeps bringing up the idea of Kendrick Lamar to his fans and the people, and while he may be trying to make them stay mad at Kendrick, and again, just surround and stand together for Drake, because that is the only thing he has left, and that is the only reason why he's even still in these spaces, he just ends up making himself look like an absolute clown, and everybody on Kendrick's team inside of things must be having a good laugh right now, because while Kendrick is preparing to play Not Like Us in bigger venues than Drake ever has been in, and again, with everything he's doing, he's going to make so much history, and Kendrick is just locked in working on actual music and his...
And that's crazy. Y'all see how Kendrick has said absolutely nothing? He has not said a word. He's just releasing music videos, going on tour, winning Grammys, playing the Super Bowl, just chilling. He has not publicly said anything. The only thing he's done is tweet links. Come on, man. When he says Drake has a lifelong battle with himself, the famous actor we once knew was spiraling. This is all Drake's own demise. It's just self-sabotage. This is crazy, man.
Craft. On the other side of this, Drake has just ended up talking himself into another corner, where when trying to stand up and act all tough against Kendrick Lamar, after Drake and Aiden were talking about Aiden's boxing event, and then Aiden asked Drake about how much he would need to go into one of these events and in the ring himself. After Drake did some rambling, and then Aiden finally asked who he would want to be up against in the ring. I mean, when you see this itself, you can see Drake's face, and when he's thinking about who he would want to match up against and almost slipped and said Kendrick's name directly, you can clearly see all the memories and losses he has been handed from Kendrick just come up right to his head, and make sure that no matter what he did in that moment, he did not take anything any further and put himself within a situation where he...
Yeah, because I've seen Kendrick boxing. I've seen Drake boxing. When Kendrick says he's Terrence Crawford, man. Y'all remember Terrence Crawford got mistaken for Kendrick Lamar too. Because they kind of look alike, kind of. You feel me? But they got the same energy, same black Air Force energy. And y'all got to understand, I come from that background. If y'all go look at one of my most popular videos, this was my brother. He's a professional martial artist. He gets paid for this. In fact, he has a fight coming up in a little bit he's training for. I know dudes that can fight. Drake, he's big. He can talk a lot. He has the ego. He has the mindset that he can beat anybody, but it's completely different when you step in that ring. Drake, he just wants to bully. And he really thinks that Kendrick will be a pushover, and I highly doubt that. Like, Kendrick already said, hey, Kendrick's been stomped out in front of his mama. Kendrick squabble up. Kendrick, come on, man. It's completely different.
He just created a lot more problems, as he would be in another 1v1 against Kendrick like we have never seen before. And with Drake's nervous laughing that he tries to brush this off with, it's honestly one of the funniest things you will ever see, because fortunately now, because of moments like these and collabs like we are getting with Drake and Aiden, despite how annoying what they're actually doing is, we do have this ability that we were never able to see before in hip-hop, which is the real reactions that rappers are having just from the thought of being back within any sort of situation with another rapper who ended their career. Now, while Drake did drag this out for a little, but after saying he would not get in the ring at a real event with this person who he did not want to mention by name, but of course was Kendrick, but would do it in a gym, he flips right back into the facade he is trying to convince everybody with, and then just tries to act all cool to his fans. And now, if you thought that Drake would stop after having this moment, it only got worse from there because he kept on talking. Because of course, Drake just could not talk about himself for too long, and had to talk about Kendrick and try to take down his accomplishments of what he has done. And with what happened when Drake and Aiden were playing these games and showing how much of a joke his career really is at this point, because I mean, just in terms of this actual collab and situation that Drake has put himself in, which is becoming a reoccurring thing, I mean, just to think about where this guy was once at and how he is now doing collab streams with Aiden Ross, this is just such a downgrade from where Drake used to want to be in hip-hop and from how he used to be perceived. And I mean, at this point, if this is what the peak of what you're doing is, you just can't even be anywhere near the conversation for best rapper. But now beyond that, and actually what Drake did to diss Kendrick, when Aiden decided to start playing some music and play Nokia in front of Drake, and then Aiden and Drake started to joke about how Aiden was going to be giving him one stream for doing this.
And this is weird. Like I said, even to be with Aiden Ross. Like, y'all know who Aiden Ross is. Y'all know his behavior. And just the people he's associated with. But just going back to Drake's mindset. Drake, he's never actually had to compete against anybody and win anything in real life. He's an actor. All of his accomplishments, all of his accomplishments have come from deception, from lying. He's never actually had to be physically a champion, be faster, stronger, smarter than somebody. He's never physically won championships, mentally won any academic championships. All his accolades come from deception. Like I said, marketing, propaganda. Saying Drake was one of the first industry plants. I know a lot of his fans like to talk about Doechii and industry plants, but Drake was literally one of the very first. I wouldn't say very first, but he's one of the biggest and most successful industry plants in the last decade. Like, understand, he was signed to Young Money, Lil Wayne. He had a co-sign from the biggest rapper at the time. Come on, man. And he was on Degrassi. What are we talking about? Drake can't fight, man. He's like the take my ball and go home type of vibe. If he's not winning, he's going to take his ball and go home.
Which in this conversation, Aiden specifically said, "I can run a stream for you." Drake responded saying about running up his streaming numbers that the rest of these guys are doing it, so that it's not a problem that Aiden will. And now, while of course Drake was trying to get a little joke off here about how Kendrick Lamar is faking his streams and getting fake plays because that seems to be the only rebuttal he has left when it comes to explaining how Kendrick is so much bigger than him, I mean, once again, Drake is reminding everybody and showing to audiences how bitter and messed up Kendrick Lamar has left him, because really, even when Aiden is trying to joke and be a fan of Drake in a way and just trying to play his Nokia record, Drake can't help himself from using this moment to try and spread these ideas and narratives about how Kendrick...
And it just goes back to projection. Because once again, going back to the industry plant, this has been going on with Drake. Drake has been doing this. Drake does not mind paying for marketing. I'm saying, I come from a digital marketing background. I have no idea, like, with artists doing marketing, a lot of people see that as being an industry plant when you actually are taking care of your artist and the label is doing what it's supposed to do. So I have no issue with Drake doing his marketing or paying content creators. That's like no different than a company paying for influencers to promote their brand or anything like that. I have no issue with you doing that at all. I don't care. Because the music still has to be good. Right? And it's not any artificial streams. It's still have to convince people to go and listen to your music. So I don't mind that, doing basic marketing. But we're talking about something that's not been proven, something that you just made up in order to keep this victim mentality. And it's weird, especially when you have academics already coming out saying that's fake. Them taking it out of the actual lawsuit itself. And they're still pushing this narrative. And it's weird, man, especially when you see the actual organic love that Kendrick is getting. Look at the Nokia music video compared to the Luther music video. Look at the streams, look at the numbers. I think Luther has already surpassed Nokia. And they'll swear to God it's just bots and fake advertisements instead of people just loving Kendrick and not loving him anymore. And that's a difficult concept for someone with Drake's ego to actually understand.
Kendrick Lamar has become so big, all because of the industry and not because of people, and how all of it that we're seeing right now in terms of how dominant he has been is just not real whatsoever. But what's really so confusing on Drake's end and shows how this guy really is such a wannabe manipulator at this point, and I'm using the word wannabe because Drake is only convincing his fans of anything and nobody else, is how despite Drake and his team dropping the claims about Not Like Us having fake streams in all the paperwork that they are pushing against his label about the song, Drake is still running around with these same old claims about Kendrick's numbers and trying to discredit him with it. And I mean, with all of this, and even with Drake still sneak dissing in general, both in music and in moments like these, when you see the image that Drake is putting out here compared to the loser he is trying to make himself out to be with his paperwork about Not Like Us, it just shows that Drake is trying to put one show on for the people where he is the same old unbothered guy that has never been better. But then to these bigger players, he is trying to make it sound like he has never been worse off because of Kendrick Lamar in this record. And I mean, with this and with Drake showing how much he's really lying to everyone in all ways and is obsessed with Kendrick Lamar more than ever, I mean, the guy just ends up showing that he's not just the biggest loser in hip-hop, but he is also the biggest clown too, because to just act like this and also contradict all of your decisions with these ridiculous claims and jokes that you were trying to get off to belittle Kendrick Lamar and make yourself sound like the real artist who is in the right and who's standing up to all the industry, You just can't even take a guy who is supposed to be in a genre where everything is about your word and what image you're putting out, but in actuality can't even stick to one story seriously. But with Drake and Aiden in this entire moment together, what Drake is really showing is that for everyone, we better get used to him doing more ridiculous things like this, because he really seems to be enjoying acting like a streamer and hanging out with these guys who are more immature than him than actually being a rapper, and trying to create genuine music that is telling a good story or just has something decent to give to its listeners whatsoever. And again, when we talk about how Drake is...
And my thing is, if Drake would have came out in this time period being Drake, he would have been fine. Like, I believe Drake would have been a great YouTuber, a great streamer. And then, like, if he did music on the side, I think he'll be amazing. That could have been Drake's lane. But man, he wants to be gangster so bad. Why does he want to be gangster so bad? Like, man, if he would have just stayed Canadian, none of this would be happening. If he would have just stayed a pop star, took the Will Smith route, stayed clean, started acting. Drake, he's supposed to be winning Emmys and Golden Globes and doing shit like that. Like, he's talking gangster on live streams with Aiden Ross. This is ridiculous, man.
No longer hip hop, but yet he's still doing some portion of the numbers he is used to. This is exactly why. Because really, aside from these people like Aiden and all of the other people he is friends with who constantly talk to Drake and support him, and again, when we talk about Drake not being hip-hop, but yet he's still doing a fraction of the numbers he used to, this is why. It's all because Drake is really the first guy who's cosplaying at this point as a rapper, but is actually more like a streamer, because really with the way Drake acts and with who he links up with and who he wants to be, and really with who he is making his music for. I mean, the guy is more like Aiden, Kai, or even somebody like Jake Paul than he is Kendrick, J. Cole, or Travis Scott. And to be honest with Drake and Aiden, as Aiden was also officially made an OVO member in one of the bits they did, and Aiden just never seemed happier. Drake shows that he resonates and likes him more than a lot of his own artists and people, including the guy he just did a whole album with in Party Next Door, because really, well, P&D has been nowhere to be found in terms of him standing next to Drake, and Drake ended up pretty much erasing him from their own work at this point, as he was nowhere in the Nokia music video as well. At the same time, Drake is making his moves with these other people just be so known, and I mean, while this is all the community he has left, because again, nobody who is actually a fan of rap music and hip-hop can look at him the same way for everything he has done, which is disrespecting everything the art form has ever represented. It's still just laughable to see Drake just step away and abandon the culture that he used to get where he fully is go. And again, just turn into...
And that's one of the reasons why Drake is getting his views. His numbers are still his numbers because, not to mention his back catalog that he already has, but people are just looking to see if he's going to talk about Kendrick again. So that's the reason why you only see Nokia fighting for that top spot. And all the rest of his songs have disappeared. No one even talks about these other songs at all. Who cares? It's only Nokia. Drake's not going to make another music video from this album. And then they'll try to say, well, it's just a collab album. Okay. Because I promise you, Kendrick wouldn't have that issue. I promise you, Kendrick dropped the collab album right now, he would not have that issue. But come on, man.
Somebody who is no longer in the same lane with Rick Ross, but Aiden Ross. And now while Drake is so far removed from what a real MC or a great hip-hop artist is, but he is still announcing that he is not giving up on music yet, as he said he is working on a new solo album where he says that it is going to be very good in his opinion. Somehow, despite Drake shifting into being a streamer, we are only going to see a lot more of him in music, and at that very soon with whatever new record he puts out. And seemingly this is because no matter how much further he is trying to move away from hip-hop and what the genre represents now, he still wants to try and get that spot he used to have back and try and shift back rap to the way he liked it. But while Drake is creating all of this noise and trying to force the hype for his music, I mean, from everything he has already done to everything he is doing, again, the guy just can't be taken seriously whatsoever. And as long as Drake is going to get scared when he thinks of Kendrick Lamar, and we can all just see that like we have here, I mean, he's only going to continue to fall off and just make a joke of himself. And so once again, with these Drake and Aiden Ross link-ups that nobody ever asked for, while Drake thinks he just got a win and one step closer to making a full comeback in hip-hop, all he managed to do was show how Kendrick really has messed him up forever and has just turned him into the biggest joke you possibly could be. And so now with all that said...
Hey man, shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop for another dope video. He's been going crazy this entire Kendrick and Drake beef, so make sure y'all go check out Fantastic Hip Hop's channel. for everything he's been doing. So appreciate you.